This video is on the 3 different forms of a quadratic equation. So quadratics can come and look 3 different ways, even though it's the same exact equation. So standard form looks like this, right? Standard form, right? This is vertex form, right here. And then intercept form. All right, so this is a problem, and it's in standard form right here. This is standard form. This is the same equation, but now this is the vertex form of it. And this is the same equation, but this is factored form. Okay, so here I've filled out these notes. I'm going to put all these notes right onto Canvas for you. But here I filled these out. So the standard form tells you some cool stuff. Standard form tells you the y-intercept. Because when you get a y-intercept, you set x equal to 0. So the ax squared and the bx would go away, and you'd only be left with c. So the y-intercept is always your c. Next, the vertex form gives you the vertex. So that's pretty straightforward. You always do opposite of what is in the parentheses, because the x minus h in the parentheses, the h moves it left or right. The k moves the graph up or down. You do opposite of left or right, so if it's a negative h, you'd move it positive h. You do the same sign as k, so if k is plus k, you move it up k. Next, the factored form. The factors, if you set factors equal to 0, then they give you the x-intercepts. So intercept form gives you x-intercepts. Right here, x-intercepts. All right. So then I take this equation and look at it. All right, so from the first standard form, you get the y-intercept. From vertex form, you get the vertex, and it's x minus 1, so it's positive 1, negative 9. And then when you take these factors, because you guys are learning how to factor, and set them equal to 0, they become the opposite signs. So it's negative 2, 0, and 4, 0. On the next part, we're going to talk about how you go from one form to the next. But if you want to go from standard form to vertex form, you complete the square. If you want to go from standard form to factored form, you factor. All right, let's keep moving down. So then, if you're down here at this other problem, number 2, you got the y-intercept at negative 3, and you always put x is 0, y is negative 3. You have the vertex at, if it's x plus 1, so it's opposite, negative 1, negative 4. And you have the x-intercepts from the factors, and you do opposite, so negative 3, 0, and positive 1, 0. You could put all these points on a graph, and then they would make your parabola, your U-shape. The second part of this assignment is how to go from one form to the other form. Okay, so from standard form to intercept form, we factor. So if I factored this problem, I would get this. These are factors. And then to get the x-intercepts, you set those factors equal to 0. So you would get 4, 0, and -2, 0 for your x-intercepts after you set those factors equal to 0. Next, from standard to vertex, you complete the square. All right, in completing the square, you get rid of the -8 for a minute, so I move it over. I just put a blank line. Then you take half of your b, this is b, half of b, so I get -1, and I square it, and that's 1. So 1 goes on the line. This is a perfect square. This is how you write it. Now, the last part you have to do is figure out this -9. And how you get that -9 is you have a 1 here, right? You have that 1, and you have to figure out, what do I do with the 1 to get back to the original problem, which was -8? And I have to subtract 9. So that's why that becomes your k out there. So this is vertex form, and then you can get your vertex. +1, -9. All right, I'll do this problem to the right since we can see it right now. From vertex form to standard form, you gotta just multiply it all out. So this means I write it twice. I multiply it out, and then I add like terms. So I get standard form. See, we know that's standard form. See? Standard form. Back at the first here. All right, this is the last thing. So from intercept form to standard form, you just go backwards and you multiply the binomials. I think you guys are getting good at this now. Multiply it all out. From these are the intercepts, and you multiply them out and you get standard form.